Hello, class. Have a brief article for here, and happy Thanksgiving, by the way. Although I'm making this video on Monday, but I'm gonna post it for you guys on Thursday. This article is about using coal as a raw material. So typically, though, the raw material we typically for our industry is oil, specifically light crude is specifically what we use raw material for most of our petrochemicals. Most of our chemical industry, we have some other ones. Sulfur, for instance, is used to make sulfuric acid. But coal is one of our majorly used fossil fuels. And here shows a coal mine, and you can see this is a coal seam, and this is how we get coal from those coal seams and that are below the earth. Yeah, this is a job I would not want. I would hate to be a coal miner. It does not look like a lot of fun. But here, looking at the article, it's a very brief article, and there are some political implications with this. Much of it goes back to World War II. So World War II dealt with the Nazi Party in Germany essentially trying to take over the world along with the Axis powers. And one of the ways that they tried to stop the Third Reich from conquering Europe and the world was to cut off petroleum supplies. It worked quite a bit to stymie the Japanese Empire in World War II. And but it didn't work for Germany. And the reason why is because Germans and for chemistry, you used to have to learn German because Germany used to be the center of chemistry. Now it's the United States, but it used to be Germany. And Germans developed something called the Fischer-Tropsch synthesis, which is you can get fuel from synthesis gas, which is carbon monoxide and hydrogen. And you can get synthesis gas from either coal, biomass, or natural gas, and more frequently we get it from natural gas here in the United States. It's easier to do with natural gas because you can do it something called steam reformation. You can throw steam and water vapor can react with methane to form carbon monoxide and hydrogen. Same thing, you can take coal and you can heat it up in a certain environment, and you can get carbon monoxide, and you can get hydrogen other ways. So coal is typically just carbon, but you can also further react that with water, also similarly water, to get hydrogen. And you can tweak it, and then you get the carbon monoxide and hydrogen. That process is called coal gasification. You can also use biomass, but coal is more efficient in that. And so the Nazi Third Reich, they ran much of their industry and war machine off of synthetic fuels, and people love synthetic fuels. They clean much more. They burn much more cleanly than petroleum-based fuel. And in fact, the Royal Air Force out of the United Kingdom, they've outright stated their airplanes they use synthetic fuels. Because they burn more cleanly. They're harder to track on radar. And some more history. In the 1970s in South Africa with the apartheid, the world was angry at South Africa, so they said, you're bad, South Africa, we're not going to give you any petroleum. South Africa goes, hey, we know our history, we know Germany can make synthetic fuels, so we're just going to make our own because we've got coal and natural gas. And they mentioned this article. The Sasol, that is the company out of South Africa, and it's still in business today, but they have synthetic fuels, and it shows how they're trying to phase out coal and use natural gas instead in an effort to decrease emissions. So there are a few more subtexts with this, with politics. And what noted to me quite a bit was the fact in China and India and in various other places, you can see it's quite a bit. So they're taking coal gasification plants. So we have China, we also have Kazakhstan, Botswana, Pakistan. So And with this, though, one of the chemicals they're going to make, you can see the chemicals here, they're going to make, let's see here, urea, ammonia, methanol, and olefins. Okay, so the biggest one here, and I'm going to zoom in, or I can't zoom, I guess I can't zoom in anymore. I'll highlight it. Ammonia. Ammonia is a big deal. And that's because ammonia is what we use to make nitrogen fertilizers. Urea is also a fertilizer, but the way you make urea is actually from ammonia. So it's kind of point. I mean, the ammonia is a precursor to urea. Olefins. These are hydrocarbons, molecules that have hydrogen and carbon that have a double bond in them. So paraffins are all single bond. Olefins have one or more double bonds. So if you wonder what an olefin is, but ammonia is very important because of fertilizer, and really our big crutch with our fossil fuel industry is our agriculture. So if you look at the world population right now, we're at, I think, around 8 billion people, and this is greatly inflated from around the year 1900, where we were approaching 2 billion, and you can see we've doubled twice in the past, about 100 years. So that's a pretty rapid increase in human population. And the reason why we humans have been able to surge in our population was because of, several reasons. One of them was nitrogen fertilizers from ammonia. And that combined with other things, mechanizing, industrializing our agriculture allows for much more food production, which can then feed the population. Before that, we were entering what's called a Malthusian catastrophe, where we could not feed our population. Now let's go into politics. Right now, the number one producer by far of ammonia is Russia. And right now we have a conflict with Russia and Ukraine, and this conflict is not looked at very fondly amongst the West. We were part of the West, and this puts a bit of a crutch on us because we still need the ammonia from Russia to make nitrogen fertilizers to keep our crops from growing. So you can see now we're divesting from Russia to start building more plants that can make ammonia in other places. So this is one of the things that I saw that in this article. I was like, wow, okay, they're really doing it. So making plants to move production away from Russia. Russia is still a very big supplier for things. It's a very big supplier of oil. It's also a big supplier of things like titanium and platinum and that kind of thing. So much raw materials do come from Russia. But as far as manufacturing, Russia makes most of the ammonia, and that is a big crutch that we rely on Russia for, and this will alleviate some of that crutch. So this is interesting. So what's funny is amazing how much politics is involved in chemistry and chemical industries. So this is one of them. So there is I know this is a really brief article, but I wanted to talk about it and show you some of the different things that are going along the world, how they interlay with politics in both the past and the future. And if you're wondering, why don't we switch our economy to natural gas? And part of it, we have such a huge amount of infrastructure built in around petroleum, light crude petroleum oil, with not only our transportation fuels but with our petrochemicals as well. We could switch to coal. We have the technology for it, and we've had the technology since the 1940s or maybe 1930s, so it's not new. And I also want to talk about the previous material I talked about it last week. Talked about how planets can form their own water. Although this is considered a hypothesis, it's called the abiotic hypothesis. It should be a theory, but there are a few hang-ups with it. But it is widely believed to be true among scientists in general. We even use the word fossil fuel. You heard the word fossil fuel. We think that the fuels primarily come from living things, dead dinosaurs, sometimes jokingly called. It is very highly likely that the majority of the hydrocarbons in the earth do not come from previously expired living creatures. It is significantly more likely that the earth itself makes the hydrocarbons, meaning heat, pressure, and iron and chromium rocks catalyzing to form light, heavy crude, and certainly methane, for some natural gas, and maybe even some coal. So we'll see. I mean, this in the proof of that. I mean, we can make something similar in the laboratory, not necessarily with the heat and pressure. I mean, we can't turn right now. We can't turn carbon dioxide and water into crude oil. We haven't been able to do that yet. So that's kind of one of the major hangups why we don't have this be the primary theory. But you can see hydrocarbons on other planets, just like there's water on other planets. There are plenty of hydrocarbons. So I mean, like the Titan, the moon of Saturn, has oceans of hydrocarbons, and there's lots of methane and the gas giants in our own solar system, and that alone, that's not saying, oh, it's clearly life, and there was previously life there. Like, no, we understand that it can be made abiotically, but we do hang on to that belief here on Earth. So that's one of the things that is going to change, is the concept of fossil fuels. And in fact, in Russia, they teach it that the Earth itself makes the hydrocarbons, and then they say, yeah, the stupid people in the West, they think it's from dead dinosaurs. Ha 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 ha. Dumb people. And truth of the matter is, they're right. We are dumb to believe that. It's very clearly not primarily from previously expired living creatures. But for now, we still have that as the accepted theory. But so if you're wondering, is there anything that's going to change in science? That's one of them. One of them is the idea where hydrocarbons come from. And we've had the technology for almost a century where we can take simpler molecules and make more complicated molecules. So yeah, interesting to see where this is going. But it's also interesting with the politics, right, with the Russia-Ukraine war and how it's shifting manufacturing and shifting economies and raw materials. And it's interesting. So it's an interesting thing to think about and keep track of. So, well, I hope you enjoy the brief article on this Thanksgiving Day, and also hopefully enjoyed some of the historical and political context to it and what it means. So I hope you have a great, I know some of you are not American, but this is, I'm an American. As an American holiday, I'm very much looking forward to it. I love turkey, and I eat lots of turkeys during this time. I love turkey. So hopefully you have a great time with your loved ones, and hope everything is going well. And as I always say, if things are not going well, let me know if you need any help with anything. And we are approaching finals, and it's a very stressful time. So please take care of yourselves and have a nice, brief rest. So take care then. Goodbye, and happy Thanksgiving.